Morning, how you doing, boys? All right?
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah,
Thank
we're
you very
good.
much. Thanks for joining the programme. Give us your thoughts on Harry Maguire.
Well, first of all, if I'm honest, I've been watching him for the past 3 or 4 years at Man United, and I personally think people were a little too soft on him. In my opinion, he's a bit of a liability, really. When you think about, I hear a lot of people say that he's never really made mistakes for England, but Giroud was his man for the free kick when France knocked us out, and you go back to even the Euro 2020 final, we conceded from a corner. It's something that is supposed to be, a good point in Harry Maguire's game, and he's let us down both times there.
I think arguably both those two games probably were lost because of tactical inflexibility, and you are playing two very good teams, by the way.
You having a go at Gareth Southgate now?
No, I'm just suggesting that you can't pin the blame on one man. But anyway, go on.
No, I'm not suggesting that it was solely Harry Maguire's fault, but what I am saying is it will happen again. He will be in situations, high-pressure environments, and he will make another mistake. I don't believe he should be in the England team going forward.
But listen, I've got no personal axe to grind with Harry Maguire. He's never done me any wrong. I just don't think he's good enough for Manchester United. I don't think he's good enough if England want to really go to that next level and win a trophy, because you have to be honest, and this is not downplaying what England have achieved under Gareth Southgate, but largely they play teams England they would expect to beat, and the two games that Ben's mentioned there against two genuinely top-class sides, they've lost, and Maguire has played his part in that.
They beat Germany in a quarter-final of a European Championship.
Great Germany side, was it? Come on.
Right, okay, so it's only a great side if you decide it's a great side.
I don't think they really piled the pressure. I don't think Italy really piled the pressure on, if I'm honest. I don't think they were great in that game either. They defended very well, clearly, but one or two chances and the ball's in the back of the net.
That's international football, though, isn't it? That is international football. International football is played in moments. If you watch France don't play particularly well over the course of 90 minutes, 180 minutes. Go back and watch the World Cup final. But they play in moments. They play in those little bursts. The same with Argentina.
Yeah.
Argentina. That is where the difference is made. Ben, who do you want to be the next Manchester United captain?
It's got to be Bruno Fernandes. It's got to be. It's got to go to him. The Liverpool game was a real low point for Man United fans, for Man United as a club, and I'd imagine for him as well. He doesn't seem like someone who shies away from responsibility. So going forward, it's got to be Bruno Fernandes for me.
Cheers, Ben. Thank you very much for your call. 03717 223344. Chris is a Manchester United season ticket holder. He's through.
Hi, guys. I think it's the right decision. You can't have a captain who's not playing. It's not like when we had Brian Robson as club captain, Steve Bruce was, the match-going captain. And I've watched them all season in the Stretford end. And between him, De Gea and Lindelof, if they try and play Ten Hag's system, they pass it 4 yards to the right to the keeper, and everyone just panics. And we've conceded so much possession, give away so many goals and silly mistakes, like the cup final, just punting it up because they can't play out from the back. He's just too stiff a player. He's not got enough skill. He's a great defender as a tackler and header, but then he does get caught out. So for me,
that's strange though, Chris, isn't it? Because when they brought him in, one of his key characteristics at Leicester City and playing for England was his ability to carry the ball out of defence. Is this just really an indication that Erik ten Hag is progressing this side and changing the way that they play? And the introduction of Onana, for example, and probably a more footballing centre-back is just the next step in the evolution of Manchester United?
I completely agree. I think you've got people on the left. Luke Shaw played because Ten Hag likes left-footed centre-backs. He wants a right-foot. Varane, when he's fit, he's miles ahead. Even Lindelof had a renaissance at the end because he wasn't with Maguire. It's not having a dig at him. It's just facts. He's not good enough. He's an English defender. We overpaid for him. And I'm embarrassed when we had Van Dijk from Liverpool, the comparisons. Harry Maguire's a good Premiership defender, but not for Man United. And unfortunately, we have lost so many games because of between him and De Gea, who has been on the slide, and they're just not good enough. The football has moved on, and you can clearly see that. So they move them on and let them enjoy the rest of their career.
I agree, Chris. I've got a question for you, Sam. Harry Maguire, does he get into any of these teams? Manchester City?
No.
Liverpool?
No.
Arsenal?
No.
Newcastle?
Possibly.
Does he?
Possibly, yeah.
Is he a better player than Sven Botman?
Not necessarily Sven Botman.
Is he a better player than what we saw from Fabian Schär last season?
Occasionally. He has the potential to be better.
But by your own admission, Manchester United want to be regularly competing in the Champions League with the likes of City, Liverpool and Arsenal. They want to be competing for titles. They want to be competing for the Champions League. So therefore, you agree with me. He's not good enough to be a Manchester United player.
I've just said, and you've just heard me, it was about 3 minutes ago, I don't know if you were listening, but the change in Manchester United's approach to football, this is just natural turnover. They are upgrading their squad. It's the evolution of their squad. But he was very good in a period when Manchester United were not very good. He was a useful acquisition for Manchester United. David De Gea. David De Gea did a great job for Manchester United when they weren't a very good team. I think he was put into a team that wasn't fully built properly. I think he would have thrived better or played better with a team that was fully constructed to protect the defence a little bit better, when he could have played on the right-hand side of a defence instead of playing on the left-hand side of a centre-back pairing for most of his career. If he'd had a manager that was a better coach rather than Ralph Rangnick, for example.
You always defend Ollie.
I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did a very good job in difficult circumstances for Manchester United, but he wasn't necessarily the best coach that Manchester United get. Manchester United were operating at a different level 3 or 4 years ago. They only won a trophy for the first time in 6 years this year, by the way. And getting back into the Champions League has not been something that's happened regularly.
And who's been a mainstay of those 6 years? Harry Maguire.
Well, he's only been there since 2019, so that's 4. But okay, obviously maths wasn't your strong point either. Colin is a Manchester United fan. Hello.
Hi, how are you, lads?
Yeah, we're good, thank you. What do you want to say to Alex Crook?
It's got very feisty in here.
You know, the first thing I want to say is I disagree completely. Harry Maguire hasn't become a rubbish player overnight.
Agreed.
Let me say why. You know, last year we lost 4-0 to Brentford and we lost 3-1 to Brighton, and he took the flak and Ten Hag dropped him. Never played him again, had no confidence in him. You know who we lost 7-0 to? Liverpool? We lost 6-1 to Manchester City. It was a 6-1 game. We scored 2 last-minute goals to make it a 6-3 game. It essentially was a 6-1 game. Harry Maguire wasn't in the team. We never saw the coach having any loss of confidence in Varane, who played, and in the Argentinian. Now, let me tell you, I think that Harry Maguire is a top-class player, but his confidence has been eroded because the coach hasn't really given him any confidence. Now, if he had to play with that little Argentinian, let me tell you, that would be the best defensive pairing. Lindelof is not as good a player as Maguire. Lindelof, Jose Mourinho said he can't hit a ball. Luke Shaw is not a centre-half better than Harry Maguire. Guys, I'm tired of everyone getting on Harry Maguire's back, and I hope he hears what I'm saying here. Harry Maguire is not a guy that we should let go. If the coach, Ten Hag, is as good as he is, or everyone purports him to be, why doesn't he coach Harry Maguire? Help him. He played Fred, he played McTominay the whole season. He played Lindelof, and we were losing with them.
Colin, hold on. Let me just get Alex's view on this, because this is a great point. If Erik Ten Hag is as good as you make him out to be, you call him the little ball genius, shouldn't he be making Harry Maguire better, coming up with a way to coach him into getting him into this squad? Because getting rid of a defender of his quality, I think we all know, I mean, you called him a Rolls Royce 4 years ago, that he had the potential to be a very good defender. Having him in your squad is better than not having him in your squad, right? Well, listen, even if he's not in your first team.
It's a very impassioned defence of Harry Maguire, and I admire that. But there are countless examples of players that Erik Ten Hag has improved. Aaron Wan-Bissaka, for me,
so why doesn't he do it for
being the most
Harry
noticeable.
Maguire?
Well, he would have tried that, and clearly it hasn't worked. And it's interesting that he makes the point that Maguire's confidence has been shattered by Ten Hag. I think it was a pretty low ebb even before that. And I do question Maguire whether he had the mentality to fight back from being left out of the Manchester United team, because, you know,
well, he said quite clearly in his statement yesterday that he's going to do that.
Yeah,
he said that in his statement yesterday, that he's going to do that. He wants to give his all for the Manchester United shirt. He wants to stay and fight with something that you and I both discussed probably 3 or 4 weeks ago.
But clearly he didn't show enough in training last season to convince Ten Hag to have faith in him. The fact that he was picking Luke Shaw as a central defender instead. He's turned up for England and played at centre-half for England over the last year and a half when everyone's been battering him. He played at Old Trafford against North Macedonia the other week when he'd been on the end of some terrible abuse. Yeah, and I don't agree with
Manchester
that.
United
I don't agree with that.
And he did a very good job, by the way.
Yeah, and so he clearly is
talk about his mentality, because his mentality is pretty good.
He's clearly thick-skinned in one respect, but he hasn't bounced back as Ten Hag would have wanted him to. And I go back to the point I've made. I think that shirt, the armband, it's just way too heavily on Harry Maguire, and therefore a clean break is better for all concerned.
Didn't weigh too heavily on him when he played more minutes than anybody else to get you through to a European final. And then he went on the bench when he was injured because you desperately wanted him and needed him there.
So it's a fair point. But you're going a long way back now, aren't you?
It was 2 years.
Yeah. A lot's happened in those 2 years.
Yeah, a lot has happened in those 2 years. So will you just discard someone because they've had a bad time, because somebody else has come along that's better, and that you've progressed your style of football? Is he not worth a place in the squad?
I don't think it's best for him just to sit and be a bench warmer. I really don't. I think he needs to go out and get regular minutes in the Premier League. Do you know what? It was actually suggested to me earlier this summer that Serie A could be a move that Harry Maguire would fancy. You look at what Chris Smalling has done to rebuild his reputation over there, the slower pace of the game in Italy, and it's not a cliche because it's true. I think that might actually suit him, but he would have to take a significant pay cut.